Hello there, and welcome to my prediction of the Smash bracket on YouTube. So, first things first, I gotta mark off everyone who's already won, Alright, so I'm gonna go through and state, fight by fight, who I think is going to win. Going through the first one, we have Samus and Dark Samus versus Pit and Dark Pit. Now, one thing that's been, lingering in my mind as a question is whether or not they're going to be interacting with each other's fights. But, considering that I believe Samus has survived a planetary explosion, whereas Pit, as far as I know, has not done anything of that caliber, I'm going to say that Samus takes the victory against Pit. Dark Samus and Dark Pit, I know less about them than I do even these two, but under the assumption that they're going to, not interact, I'd say that Dark Samus probably takes it, but if only one of these four survive, I think it's going to be Samus. Next we have Donkey Kong versus Bowser. So, here's the thing. I don't think Donkey Kong's Moon Punch is going to be factored in, because from what I understand about Donkey Kong, he is not as strong as that in previous things, and the rules of the Smash bracket states that if there's a one-off instance of immense strength, then they're going to ignore it. Whereas Bowser is pretty consistent throughout the games. The only inconsistency I would find that gives him too much durability would be the time that he survived the universe reset Sonic Boom, but Big Bang recreation in Super Mario Galaxy. However, since the Smash bracket doesn't mean they have to die, they can just be incapacitated, I think Donkey Kong is going to take this one because he was able to knock King K. Rool out with the barrels, and seeing as how everyone's using their weapons, I'd say Donkey Kong is probably going to use the barrels at some point. Next we have Simon or Richter, I'm not sure, versus Luigi. I made sure before, but don't pay attention to these kind of things. So, the deal is that Luigi has very few instances where he shows his own strength. He's mostly just a Mario clone with a better jump, and there are a few one-off instances where it's not a multiplayer mode, or he's the first player, which would count for his thing, but it's not really a good fighting thing. Whereas Simon, he looks like Jonathan Joestar, he fights vampires like Jonathan Joestar. I'm giving it to him. After that, we got Ness versus Pokemon Trainer. Don't know much about Ness. Don't know much about Pokemon. Never played either of their games. But I'm going to give it to Ness. Just as a hunch. Next, we got Peach and Daisy versus Chrom and Roy. Now, I don't know anything about these two characters. I have a hunch that Peach is going to win this. I don't think Daisy is. I think that Roy... Wait, is Roy fighting No, I think Chrom is just going to easily stab Daisy and then move on, and then they both team up against Peach, and then because of one of the DS games that I've never played, Peach is going to win. But I have a feeling that Peach is going to win, and that's with Roy and Chrom teaming up on her. And next we got Olimar versus Piranha Plant. I think this is going to be the next Lucina versus Rob. It's just, Olimar is way too small to do anything to Piranha Plant. But I mean, Piranha Plant is very not weak in toughness standards. So forget Immovable Object versus Unstoppable Force. This is completely movable object versus basically no force. But I still think Piranha Plant is going to take the victory here due to PD Piranha and stuff like that. Next we got Joker versus Snake. I think that it's going to be Snake, because he just has a lot more versatility than what I've seen of Joker. Joker just has dual pistols and a stand, whereas Snake has grenades, a box, drone, all of this stuff. So I think that Snake's going to take this one. Next we have Terry versus Ken. Yeah, I have no clue. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by its toe. If it hollers, make it pay $20 every day. My mother said, pick the best one, and you are it. Okay, I think Terry's gonna win. I have my eyes closed for that. Banjo and Kazooie versus Yoshi. So, this one I'm also not too certain about. I don't know any of Banjo's strengths. And I haven't seen too much from Yoshi. But I get a feeling that Yoshi has far more versatility than Banjo and Kazooie are going to have. So I'm going to go with him. Next we have Mr. Game & Watch versus Wii Fit Trainer. I think it's going to be Mr. Game & Watch. Wii Fit Trainer's only strengths is she's fit. Whereas Mr. Game & Watch is a video game character, which is far more than peak human. Now, in the free-for-all between the Koopalings, I'm going to give it to Bowser Jr. I've thought about it between Bowser Jr. and Morton, because Morton seems like the biggest contender against Bowser Jr., and I think Morton is probably physically stronger, but Bowser Jr. has much more of an arsenal. He has the paintbrush from Super Mario Sunshine, and he has the galaxy things, he has the clown car that I don't think I've ever seen him use, and the clown car was able to make a bridge, which would be half the force, knock a heavy iron ball in a completely different direction. Whereas Morton, as far as I'm aware, his biggest strength might be pushing a large boulder, but the only one I've actually seen that is a thing that could be measured maybe is the hitting of a giant pokey with a hammer. Now, between Bowser Jr. and Pichu, I think it's Bowser Jr. on this one, because Bowser Jr. most likely is also going to have access to Mega Leg and Mega Hammer, which I don't think Pichu has any counters for. I'm not certain, because I don't know anything about Pokemon, but I think that Bowser Jr. has that one in the bag. After that, Ice Climbers versus Duck Hunt. Ice Climbers actually does things. Duck Hunt is a dog that laughs at you when you miss. Wario versus Lucas. I haven't played Earthbound, and the only Wario game I've played is Mario Land 2, The 6 Golden Coins, and Super Mario 64 DS. But from what I've read of the YouTube comments of the community post that says that this is going to be the next fight, I think Wario is going to win. Next up, we got Richter versus Ike. I have not played either games, but I think that Richter has a better chance due to his NES game having a lot of weapons, I think, from what I understand based on his moveset. Ike, as far as I know, he just has a sword and various moves he can use with his sword. Next we got Inkling versus the Miis. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to face them one-on-one, or if he's only going to face the gunner, or if there's going to be like 3 different Inklings versus 3 different Miis. But I'm going to give it to the Miis, because from what I understand, they're also going to be taking feats from Miitopia, whereas Inkling's only feat is as far as I'm aware, is just carrying around somewhat heavy weapons and exploding other squid kids, which only happens because they're being hit by other types of ink. Next we got Zelda and Sheik versus Pyra and Mythra. Now, I haven't played the Hyrule Warriors game, but I have played Ocarina of Time. I also haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I think they have a pretty good chance at it. I think their swordsmanship is going to be better than Sheik's ninja dodging skills, or Zelda's light sealing magic, which really was only designed for Ganondorf anyways. Wolf versus Incineroar. Wolf fights in space, Incineroar is a Pokemon. I think Wolf has this one, but I'm not sure. Palutena versus Byleth. I'm giving it to Palutena because I believe that's more accurate. Maybe? Okay, now we got the Battle Royale between the Minecraft characters. And we got Enderman, who can teleport. Zombie, who is completely useless. Alex and Steve. Steve can easily kill the other two mobs, so there's no way they're winning. Now, between Steve and Alex, they have relatively similar, or actually they have exactly the same strength, so it might just be up to who the fan's favorite, but I'm going to give it to Steve just because he has thicker arms and the Alex is the slim skin, and as we all know, bigger biceps mean bigger punching power. That's a joke, by the way. Now, between Villager and Steve, we've all seen the Ganondorf versus Isabelle one. Kazuya versus Sora. From what I understand, Sora is super powerful. Kazuya, not so much. Little Mac versus Min Min. So, at first I was going to give it to Min Min, but then I realized Little Mac has fought Donkey Kong. Not only that, but just because Min Min has so long of a reach that Little Mac likely won't land any hits in a realistic fight. Remember, this is a versus battle, which means that there's not going to be any, Little Mac is going to have to land a few hits at some point. And I think that once that happens, Little Mac's going to get Min Min in a position where she can't use her arms to keep him at bay. Now we got Cloud versus Hero. No idea which hero will win, but I say Cloud's probably going to win because he fought Sephiroth, apparently. Shulk versus Isaac. From what I understand, Shulk is one of the most powerful Smash characters we have. Byleth versus... That's not Byleth. Robin versus Rosalina. I'm going to say Rosalina because of the Comet Observatory and just the sheer number of Lumas that she has at her disposal, but also the fact that the Comet Observatory is a comet. So, if needed, she could probably crash the Comet Observatory into Robin and completely obliterate him. Next we got Bayonetta versus Corrin, and after not very careful consideration, I've decided to give it to Bayonetta, surely because I have no idea. So, that's who I think is going to win round 1. But the real question is, who do I think is going to win round 2? Now, originally I was going to have Mr. Game & Watch and Wario fight because their series are connected just simply by being only mini-games. But I now realize that's probably not it, so let's go over what I put and not exactly why. So, Link versus Sephiroth, it's just because he has a really long sword and he has the Master Sword. I still think that Sephiroth is going to win. X symbolizes yes. Mega Man versus Cloud. I think that Mega Man is going to win. King Dedede versus Wario. Death Battle did a video on this, but I think it's going to be Wario. Just because he doesn't want to die. I don't know. They're probably not going to actually use that as an actual feat. But, anyways, advanced technology I think is going to beat traditional sword fighting. So I think Samus is probably stronger than Peach, and there's no way Dark Samus is losing to Daisy. Her only real feats are hitting a golf ball really far, breaking a tennis racket, and getting kidnapped in Mario Land. Unless for some reason the Super Mario Brothers McDonald's Game Watch confirms that she's just as powerful as Male Toad, I don't think that Daisy's gonna beat this. Primitive Mind versus Advanced Wolf. Wolf's likely gonna win this. Donkey Kong may have strength, but Wolf has much more speed and a rocket ship. He just has cannons. Kirby, obviously Kirby. Even if Sonic tried to use his time-traveling thing to go back in time and stop Kirby from being born, he would then find that Kirby is actually Void, which is a thing in each dimension, and I don't want to get too deep into Kirby lore because it can get confusing. I think Shulk would beat Sora, just from what I've heard of Shulk's powers. Next we have the Vampire Hunter versus a probably vampire. Holy Water. I believe in Catholics. I don't believe in Catholicism. I just believe Catholics are better than vampires. Yeah, so we got Rosalina versus Palutena. Palutena might win. I'm hoping it's Rosalina, but my money's on Palutena. Next, we got Meta Knight versus Mr. Game & Watch, and from what I understand, he's just a guy, whereas Meta Knight is a 8-inch tall swordsman. Greninja versus Falco. I'm gonna give it to Falco on this one, because of whatever the heck he used to defeat Captain Falcon. Next we got Popo and Nana versus Mythra and Pyra. Yeah, I think Xenoblade's got this one as well. King of Darkness versus Slayer of Darkness, or something like that, I don't know. Considering that Ganondorf... This is Ocarina of Time Ganondorf, if I remember correctly, so he has been beaten by a Goron sword that dealt even more damage to him than the Master Sword did. And, technically he can be beaten by throwing a bunch of pots at him. So, I think that, what? No. I think that he's got... I mixed up X with losing. Yoshi versus the Miis? If this happens, I think Yoshi might be split into 3 different Yoshis fighting each of these. Maybe not, I don't know. But I've just got a feeling that Yoshi can egg spam enough to defeat all 3 Miis. Next we got Pikachu versus Plant. And Pikachu obviously beats the Plant. Next we got Little Mac versus Ness. I think that Ness has psychic powers that Little Mac has no idea. Well, he has some idea of how to counter, but, you know, just not as much as as Ness has. Because that guy followed a very predictable pattern, from what I understand. The 2 Battle Royale characters, Bowser Jr. versus Steve. Steve's going to take this one. And then Terry versus Ryu. I think Ryu is more powerful than Terry, if I understand his character correctly. So now to reassemble these characters. Alright, so here's the deal. We end up, as it turns out, we end up with one extra fighter that has no fight to go through with. Probably it's going to be like a three-way brawl, so... Alright. So now we got, this mess of a thing, which is the best I can do. So, I think that Samus's probably made up feat about surviving a planetary explosion isn't going to carry her as far as Mega Man, especially if from what I understand of it. Obviously, Kirby's going to win because fans are going to get mad if Kirby loses. Because, you know, nothing beats Kirby. Sephiroth is going to take down Meta Knight easily because Meta Knight does not have enough cannon feats to defeat that. I think Wolf's going to beat both Pikachu and Yoshi. Maybe? I don't know. Again, future technology I think is just better, especially if you're of comparable strength. Steve versus Palutena. I'm going to give it to Steve just based on the amount of gold he can carry at one time. I think Dark Ryu is stronger than Simon is going to be. Is that Simon or Richter? I don't know. Pyra and Mythra. I don't think Ness is as strong as I've made him out to be. And then Shulk, obviously. So I think that maybe, since there's another character that's not going to be in there, we're probably going to end up with a three-way fight between the three most powerful characters we have. And obviously, Kirby takes the dub. Now we got two characters that they've been going only because of the equipment they're using. Mega Man, I think, is going to beat Wolf. Next up, we got Steve versus Snake. And I think that they're probably not as powerful as I've been making them out to be just because of the characters I've been making them fight against. So now we're down to 4 characters. Alright, so now we got 4 characters left. We have a fighter, a miner, a robot, and a Kirby. So, I think, just to keep the suspense up, Mega Man is one of the most powerful characters left that isn't Kirby. And Steve will probably be using a lot of mine equipment and redstone and stuff to win. So, I'm going to say it's this with Dark Ryu and versus Kirby and Mega Man versus Steve. Obviously Kirby. And I'm going to say Mega Man wins this one. So then it's Mega Man and Kirby, and then Kirby becomes the ultimate victor. Alright, so that's my prediction for how the Smash bracket is going to go down. So, please feel free to come here and harass me when I get it wrong and it turns out that Lucas beats Wario or whatever. Anyways, thank you for watching and goodbye.